Venomous species tend to use their venom only in defense when it's absolutely necessary. So most venomous snakes you'll find are not looking for a fight, and they would only actually bite you if you touch them. It's easy to overlook them, and most people are actually bitten accidentally because they don't see the snake and they step on it, or they put their hand under a piece of firewood and they didn't know the snake was there and it bites them because they touch it. There are a lot of species of snakes here in the Ozarks, but the ones that people run into the most are usually things like water snakes, because we have a lot of people who like to fish and they're very common around lakes and rivers. Garter snakes, which are common in town and they're very frequently encountered in people's backyards. Black rat snakes, which are very common throughout the Ozarks. They're very large and they're very abundant, and they also live commonly in town as well as on people's farms, so people see those a lot. Many of the other species are hard to find because they're always hiding under something. Prairie king snakes, speckled king snakes are also abundant and easy to find. The venomous species, we have 4 here in southwest Missouri, and it includes 2 rattlesnakes. The large one is the timber rattlesnake, the small one is the pygmy rattlesnake, but the most commonly encountered venomous snake is the copperhead, and they're found pretty much everywhere in Missouri. We also have cottonmouths, which are found only around streams and rivers. It sounds like a simple question to say how can I tell a venomous from a non-venomous snake, but it's actually kind of challenging sometimes because there's a lot of similarity in some color patterns, and that's the most obvious thing that you might use to tell a species apart from something else. But there are some good features to exclude venomous snakes. For example, if you see a snake with a stripe going down its body, it's not venomous. It's something harmless. So that automatically tells you, okay, I don't have to worry about that one. There's a lot of similarity in non-venomous and venomous snake color patterns, so it's hard to pick out one and say that's always safe and this one's not. Speckled king snakes have little dots all over them. We don't have any venomous species that look like that either. There's a lot of specific things to individual species that would work well, but generalities are a little harder to come by. And in order to really tell them apart clearly, you often have to look at very specific small-scale features that you wouldn't be able to see without looking at the animal up close, which is not always what you want to do when you're trying to tell if it's dangerous or not. So the features that are always good for telling venomous snakes from non-venomous snakes, at least in our part of the world, are that all of our venomous snakes are what we call pit vipers, and they have a unique structure on the side of their face, which is used to detect infrared radiation. And so warm-blooded animals like ourselves give off body heat, and the snake actually perceives this and uses it as a thermal imaging organ. And so the non-venomous snakes we have don't have that structure. If you get close enough, you can clearly see the distinct pit organ on the side of the face, and it will be absent in a non-venomous snake. So that's pretty good. If you have a dead snake and you want to know what it is, you could handle it and see that. Also, under the tail, the way the scales are aligned are distinctly different in a pit viper versus a non-venomous snake. And again, you have to almost have the animal in your hand or have a shed skin in order to see that feature. The problem with snakes, unlike say birds, where if you've seen one example of a single species, you generally know that all of them look the same way. There's a lot of variation within a species of snake in terms of its color pattern. And so trying to point out a particular thing to look for is difficult. That's why the scales work and color doesn't work very well. Snake phobia is the top fear, psychologists tell us. And so it's understandable that people are afraid of snakes. However, the fear is exaggerated relative to the risk. In this country, snake bite is a trivial health problem. There are several thousand people a year that are bitten by venomous snakes, and there are fewer than 10 deaths. You're much more likely to be killed by a dog bite or a lightning strike. And certainly riding in a car is far more dangerous than handling this snake. So I think people should keep that in mind and not freak out when they encounter one or worry about, oh my God, there's a snake in my yard. It's probably not a big deal.